Hello, welcome everybody to All Over the Place. I am your hostess ish, Rebecca Vitzman, also known as the Autogender Unicorn. Today I'm doing my first live. My cat was just meowing, so I was 1 minute late for my first live because she brought me a felt mouse. Because I can't, get food for myself, obviously. So anyway, I tonight for my first live, I just decided that I would focus on the things that I have been thinking over the week or whatever. So one of my autistic special interests, and the one that I'm going to be covering first, and have my first video that's coming out on Sunday at noon, on my autistic special interest in Jungian cognitive stacking. And so I'll be going over the first two sets, I guess, and then I'll do the second two sets 2 weeks from now. So, and then we'll have the 8 functions, then we'll learn how, they interact. And anyway, that's what I'm going to focus on first. So since I'm focused on that, I'm also probably the things that I'm going to do live generally are going to use my special interest that I've been focused on, or the things I've been thinking about, or just whatever it is that I want to talk about. And this time it's going to be the types of Trump, Kamala, and Walz, right? And what I think they are, because I'm not going to do any research right now because this is just where I am at this very second. Some of them I've looked into before or whatever to, verify that I was correct. But Walz, I just don't, I don't think there's enough information. I feel like the people who are typing him so far don't necessarily look like they know what they're doing. And so I'm going to venture my own guesses, state my reasons why, and then I'll either be right or wrong and whatever. So first of all, we're going to start with Trump's type. And because I'm just jumping the gun, you might not know how to do typology. So if you don't, sorry, the stream's not for you. Maybe you can watch my other stuff and then come back to this, once my other stuff is available. Sorry about that. Just got to move on. So Trump's stack is SE, which is sensing, right? So he, if you go into the second question, which is going to be sensing and intuition, right? So you're either sensing the world around you, it's sensory, or you feel your body sensations, like I feel hungry, I feel thirsty, I feel tired, I feel pain, or I am holding this ball. I am swinging on a pole or whatever. Sensory information. Or intuition is going to be different than that. It's more like mental gymnastics, let's say. But you can use mental gymnastics to do physical gymnastics. Apparently, Stephen, I don't want to butcher his last name. I'm going to put my sunglasses on top again and again and have them fall off because it feels good to have them push in on my head. I just like the way they feel. And whenever they leave, it's like, no. And I'm too autistic to not want it to feel that way right now. Hey, it's my cat. Do you want to come up? You want to come? Hello. This is Ally. And she's like, what is going on? Because I don't usually talk to my computer. Yeah. Are you super interested? I don't want you to type on the keyboard though. Okay. Sound. Hello, girl. What are you doing? Did you go? Or do you want out? Okay, so I was typing Trump. And so his is external sensing, right? Because you do internal and external for each one. And so external sensing, which would be like just doing stuff. Like think of it like Nike or whatever, because they branded themselves so perfectly when they're like, just do it, right? Because the just do it crowd, the ones who like external sensing, which is just talk, just do, just throw, just swing. Like they're doing stuff, but the way it looks when they're kids is like they're touching everything and they're loud and they don't, right? These are extroverted people with extroverted sensing. Where they're big, kind of like, maybe they got in trouble, and everybody gets into trouble though because they're the ones who get into trouble and say, "Oh, kids get into trouble," because not all kids get into the kind of trouble those kids get in, but we have to understand that they are children, and definitely these kids get into trouble. A lot of times what really helps them is being in sports, and they say that. They give that as advice to each other, and they think it's like really valuable advice for everybody, forgetting like some people's bodies just don't work and that sports is dangerous for some. Like right here, right? Like I'm lucky that my mom pulled me out of gymnastics because I went to dip my toes under the beam, right? So you got a beam and you dip your toe and then you put it back on the beam. And I dipped it, but my interoception issues turned it, and I didn't know that. I guess it, right? And then it came back, hit the beam. I flew off, landed on my neck, and my mom's like, "You're gonna break your neck." And you know what? I was so upset. I was like, people fall off all the time. It's normal to fall off. They have mats there, right? I'm like trying to, um, do the thing I want to do. And she looks at me and is my mom and looks at the situation and called it appropriately, by the way. So took me until my EDS diagnosis before I realized. And now I look at what happened, like things could have been really bad. It could have gotten really bad. Gymnastics is not good for EDS people. Like it looks okay and then it's bad too. Sorry, tangent. Here we go. We were talking about, see, all over the place. Welcome. If you've ever made it through any of my stuff, especially whenever I'm just going, then all right. So we're at ESTP. So SE, he's just doing stuff. Just do it. We're talking about sports. I went on it. This is what this type is like, right? They're the ones who are like, oh, like back in the high school days, I was the college or whatever athlete something because they're really great with balls. Not just balls, obviously. And also other types are also great with balls. Sensory types generally do better, but like if you get an intuitive type and that intuitive type has intuitively learned how to do that thing, they will be blow your mind exceptional, right? Because intuitively doing it is this like mental game, and you can't catch a physical game can't catch a mental gamer unless they work on their intuition, right? Just like this other person worked on their stuff too, right? Like because people can grow, like, and people also will always be like, doing their things as well, and also growing the part of yourself that is like holding you back from growing will help a lot as well. And so Trump has the just do stuff at the beginning, which is why he can get into a lot of trouble, right? Because he can't just talk. He can just say stuff. He doesn't have to check anything because it's first. It's not like after thinking or after feeling or after my feelings, your feelings. Like, what all does it come in front of? It comes in thinking for yourself. It comes before the rules. It comes before feeling your feelings, feeling others' feelings, right? Feeling like you need to, like food, water. Just do stuff before even food and water. Not that I am good at food and water, I'm terrible at it. I'm just saying, just do stuff is all the way at the front, all the way at the front. He can just do stuff like every second forever, right? And how do you catch up with something that's just that like that? Okay, so so anyway, when I say catch up with, I just mean like fact checking somebody who's already not grown those parts. It's like he's just doing stuff. You're trying, right? He's just doing stuff. So what that gets supplemented with by him, because number one is just do stuff, and number two is thinking for himself. And that's fed with whatever it's been fed with, right? Because if you feed somebody who thinks for themselves with like great information, like here are all of the rules, right? And you have to use all of those. And it's like you have to know the rules before you can break the rules, right? If you're doing that, and then you have this like thinking for themselves person who's trying to like, yeah, but the rules look broken here, so we'll like fix the rules because the rules were broken. So says a person who's thinking for themselves, right? Because these rule followers, they're not going to do that. They're not going to be like, why don't I look right along all these edges and see if it's broken anywhere? Because it kind of looks like it might be. I think it's broken, right? That's a thinking for yourself kind of person, right? Or you can get somebody who has been fed just nonsense, like not been taught the rules or told they're better than the rules or rules are for other people or whatever this person learned, right? So what did Trump learn, right? That's going to matter. Like formative years, what happened to get the ball rolling, whatever got fed there is the second thing that's happening, right? So he's just doing stuff based on all this stuff that happened, right? That he learned. It's whatever he was taught or whatever he picked up. Like it's not like based on anything other than what input, right? Here comes the input, and what was that? Was it science? It doesn't look like that's what it was, right? It looks like just look at what that is. I'm just saying like that's what it is he's got that, and then the other thing. Now I'm not going to go any further than that because I would like to move on to Kamala. I'll do a longer video on Trump later, and especially after I've broken it down, because right now I'm going to be breaking it down in the top two and talking about this first, and not getting lower into any of the stacks until after I have kind of the basis of where things are. And at that time, if people want to, like, I'll do different videos based on what people want at that point, like, or even my family and friends or whatever. I'll start with who we want to type and then look at so that we can understand what we're looking at to start. So moving to Kamala. Kamala's top cognitive function is thinking external, which is the rules, right? So before she feels the feelings of others, she's actually, that would actually be pretty low for her, but it'd be her growth path. So if she's become more like, cares more about the feelings of others than maybe back when she was like enforcer of the rules, right? Because she started off as a rule enforcer, and that makes sense, right? She because a TE, that's thinking external, that's following the rules, that's following all of the rules, right? And kind of like a no mercy follow the rules, because we don't have The feelings of others, we don't have your own feelings. So this is a following the rules without your feelings being involved. So that's her feelings not being involved in what choices were getting made. No one's feelings, actually, because the rules were on high. And then next we have sensing internal for her. And so that's I'm hungry, I'm tired, meeting her needs as a person, right? So this is going to be somebody who is like good at like self-care and eating, because like her body like naturally like craves food at the appropriate times and or whatever. Like maybe she can exercise just fine and like right. And so it'll be a rule enforcer who's taking care of themselves. What else though? They'll think that they have like everyone's best interest in mind, but the way that they treat feelings ends up being like generally problematic over time. And we can talk about Kamala Harris more later. But is she growing? I'm going to look at that for just a second, because she'd have to become a little bit sloppier. Have we seen her be a little bit sloppier? Because I would like to see her be a little bit sloppier personally. Like, definitely if she just seemed as though she could, what is it called? Relax. I want to see her relax. I want to see her also do well with Gaza. That would be a good one for being able to determine whether or not her growth, which would take feeling the feelings of others, since that's like on the opposite end of thinking of the rules. And then Walz. What type is Walz? I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that because he was a coach and then he like worked in a lunchroom, I'm getting like an ESTP vibe right there, right? So that's going to be the same type as Trump. And that's why I'm like, is that even true? Because I looked and it looks like people are typing him as ESFJ, but I kind of feel like that's if you look at him now. And the thing is he looks super grown to me. That's generally what a grown person, like old, looks like. And so I'm looking at this grown person and I'm like, no, with the coach thing, I think we have an ESTP who grew to be like better at feelings and, was able to like heal into this beautiful man, can't he run sometime person, because that's what it looks like to me. But of course, this is brand new. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe because I don't have a lot of information other than like he was a gym coach, and you really get ESTP out of that. And then like looking like he is like a hunter. And so that again, you're gonna get a lot of that. And then I see farm animals, and you get like a lot of that. And they're like Midwest farmer grandpa. It's like, okay, I'm still thinking that they could be the same type, and I understand. This is what it looks like when you have grown and ungrown. And I feel like this is pretty important to mention because when you grow, you're supposed to get to a point where you're using all of the things instead of favoring the one that like you've always been good at, because that other one is really hard to do. Right? And so you want to do the one that you're good at. But the thing is, if you learn how to do the one that's hard to do, you start to like be able to like interact with other people more balanced, like because sometimes you need this one or someone's using this one. You have to be able to like be like, okay, um, I'm getting a little too nebulous with it. I just mean that when you have somebody who has worked on themselves by growing in the ways they needed to along the way instead of sweeping it under the carpet, you have it look a different way than somebody who just pushed growth away, like as a unneeded thing. Um, but you know what? I could look at more recent videos. I stopped looking at videos of Trump. I don't know how many years ago. Like it's just, I don't know. I just don't feel like I'm gaining anything out of it, and it all seemed pretty repetitive. And it was kind of like painful to think that other people were covering it as part of their lives, and I had to listen to that and like come up with commentary on the same stuff. Like just regurgitated in a different subset of words, and so I was always like I don't have to personally do that with my time, but you know what? Maybe I'll go and look and see if there's any signs of any type of growth. I don't want to say, I don't want to make a claim there. So I won't make a claim. I will just say that from what I saw in the past, not grown. And here is the reason why. We have sensory at the top, which means it's going to be systems at the bottom. I have no way to really judge that. The rules, and then it's his feelings. And so he's going to belittle the rules. And so a good version of him, or good, grown, a grown version of him would stop belittling the rules. And so, if we've ever seen him get to a point where he has stopped belittling the rules, then we would be like, hey, there are signs that he is growing. For Kamala, the sign that she was growing would be she would not, let's see. So it's TISE. So she's going to, she needs to like relax. She's relaxed. Maybe make a silly art project, yeah. Like, like she's got to learn how to like, I don't know, take it around, like breathe, relax a bit. Maybe be less judgmental of others. Yeah, that too. That's a pretty big one. And then let's see. And then this other guy, he looks like somebody who doesn't belittle the rules. Now, I don't know what he was like when he was 16 to 24, right? I feel like maybe he got in trouble a time or two, or maybe sports kept him out of trouble the entire time, which sports has been known to do. But whatever it was, he's definitely not a person who is currently belittling the rules. And so if he is a different type, then I'll have other information in the future. Right now, this is just preliminarily what I have thought from what I've looked at. I don't yet trust the various forums because I don't know how much information is known by the people who are casting their votes, and a lot of people are notoriously bad at it because they don't understand like the growth stuff, and they don't understand what people look like whenever they're not well, right? And so that would affect all of it, and so unfortunately, I don't think it's a place that I could put my own personal like stock in currently. maybe that'll change, more information comes out. And so I'll put out that video in 2 days at noon Pacific Standard Time. This has been All Over the Place with Rebecca Bitzman, the Autogender Unicorn, and have a good night.